Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Elizabeth Elaborates. I'm actually in my car today because I was gonna go to school and record this at the library, but the road is closed and it's gonna take like 10 minutes to go around the other way to get to the library parking lot, and I just don't want to do that. So it is what it is. Also, it might be short because it's like 20 degrees outside and I had to turn my car off because it sounds like a 747 every time it's idling. And I actually looked under my car the other day because so many people had made comments about it that, well, yeah, like last week I went to Dunkin', right? Went through the drive-thru, and my car is loud. My car is loud, I'll give you that. And it's always been that way, it's a 2013 Outback, and it's got personality, it's got character, it's been loved and lived in, and now it's mine, and I accept all of that previous life as my own. So I love it. And anyway, she's noisy. She's noisy. And I was driving through the drive-through. Man, I can't even think. I'm not waking up yet, guys. It's 9 a.m. My professor canceled class too. That's why I turned around at the closed road, cuz then it was really pointless for me to go to school. So here we are in the extra parking lot of the municipal building. So hopefully the cops don't come and talk to me because I look weird sitting here. But it's like 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, so I think we're good. But these cops have nothing better to do in my town. Don't get me wrong. I love support the cops and everything, but sometimes they need a little extra excitement in their day. Anyway, I'm at the Dunkin' drive-thru, right? It's on a hill. So I'm coming up. Let me lock my door. I'm zooming up this drive-thru because my car kind of like zonks out when you let it go, and then you need to hit the gas to get going, like I need a long entrance ramp on the highway to go anywhere. So I hit the gas in the drive-thru and I get up to the window, and the girl leans out the window. She's like classic Dunkin' employee. I don't know if this makes sense outside of New Jersey, but I feel like in New Jersey, like the Dunkin' people I'm used to, it's always like slick back, long eyelashes, no face makeup, lip gloss. And she leans out the window, right? She got her little hat on. She's like, "You got exhaust on that thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got an exhaust." Because I'm like, I have an exhaust on my car. Like it sounds like I don't, or it sounds like I did something to it. But I got an exhaust on it. So I'm like, "Yeah, I got exhaust." And she's like, "Oh, okay, really?" And she takes my money. And I'm like looking at her. I'm like, "What you mean?" And then "What you put on it?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And I was like, "No, I didn't put anything on it. I have an exhaust." But I'm like, I said to her, I was like, "I just got an inspected. I didn't touch it. It's all good." I'm like, "I didn't put anything on it." And she's like, "Oh, but you got exhaust." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "What you do?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I didn't do anything to it." And then by now I have my drink and my straw and everything. Thank God it's a plastic straw. Hallelujah. Amen. And I I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Are you like a car girl or something?" Which, as soon as I said that, I was like, that was so stupid of me to say that. Like, who says that? So anyway, I pop my straw in my drink and I drive away immediately. Then a few days later, I'm talking to my other friend, and he's like, "Man, your car's been sounding loud lately." He's like, "You pulled out the other night." And I was like, I thought you were going to be like a giant pickup truck, and it was just Lizzie. And I was like, "I know, it's loud." And then I told him the story about the Dunkin' girl. And I was like, "All right, maybe I got to get it checked out." And he's like, "Are you sure you have a catalytic converter on there?" And then my other friend comes. So now I'm talking to these two friends about catalytic converters getting stolen, which is like a huge deal in my town, in my area. Like, people just get their catalytic converters stolen out of their driveway. And for my job, I clean houses, which I'm going to tell you some cleaning stories after this. I don't know why I got on this car tangent, but I'm parking on the street all the time for my job, right? Because we just drive to every single house. So I'm parking on the street. I'm like, yeah, I probably have like a ton of opportunities to have my catalytic converter stolen. It's only been loud for like not that long, so maybe it is a possibility. And apparently you can drive without a catalytic converter. So after this conversation, I'm like, all right, let me check out what's going on. So I go home, I get under my car, and I'm looking at it. I'm pretty sure it's the muffler, but the catalytic converter is there, thank goodness, because those are expensive. And I'm like looking at this pipe. The pipe is completely broken apart, so nothing is getting to the muffler, okay? So the muffler is basically useless, which explains a lot. And I haven't taken it in yet because I just know in the back of my mind that's the issue, and I'm like, it's probably not that bad. But I do need new brakes too because my brakes don't really work anymore. But I would say there's a good centimeter gap in that pipe. It looks like there's a joint and maybe like, I don't know if a gasket's the right word, but like something that goes in between those two pieces of pipe. And that's just completely gone. I just had my car keys and I was just like scraping it away. It's just flaking off, so rusted, so old. So I don't know if I need to get like a new pipe or whatever, but my friend said he's going to fix it for me, so hopefully that's what it is. And then it'll all be going through the muffler and I'll sound a little bit nicer. Now I'm kind of concerned that like I'm going to get pulled over for being noisy, you know? Cuz my car idles at like 2000 RPM. Someone tell me if that's a problem too. So usually I'll just let it idle for a minute and then I'll just like pop it in reverse really quick and back to park. And it kind of like, and it goes back to nice little calm idling. So that's kind of the car debacle. I also have like 200 fruit stickers on the inside of my car that you guys can't see. But I have banana stickers on my glove box. And apple and banana and kiwi. I got a clementine. And all of those are on the center console thing. So my car's got some personality inside and out. And yeah. So I do have to get that fixed by either my friend or my mechanic. My mechanic is a little Greek man that's like a foot shorter than me. So he's pretty funny. But anyway, let me tell you about yesterday too, because yeah, I'm a cleaning lady, right? Surprise, surprise. Nobody talk about it. It's not really the greatest thing in the world, but I'm a cleaning lady. I clean houses, and I work for a lady who has an LLC, so there's like employees, I have a boss, yada yada. We clean some really nice rich people's houses. Or not really nice rich people. We clean rich people's really nice houses. Gotta be important. You gotta be careful how you speak. Some people are pretty nasty. Some people are pretty nice. Most of the time, they just kind of like pretend you're invisible, but they kind of look at you like some type of way every time that you walk by. And I'm like, sir, you're looking at me crazy as I'm like washing your dishes. But what you don't know is I was just in your closet like dusting your $50,000 watch case that has 7 watches in it. You know, I'm like, why are you looking at me some type of way when I'm like in the bathroom cleaning? And you're like, you don't even know the opportunities I have to like see every nook and cranny of your house. You know, not that I would ever take anything. I don't even like, that does not cross my mind. People ask me that too, which is wild. They're like, oh, do you like they ask me if I want to like take stuff or whatever. And I'm like, what are you? Like, that would literally cost me my job. Okay, I'd have somebody's bracelet or whatever I stole, and I'd be out of a job in 2 seconds. And there's like, the security systems in these houses are intense. There's alarms, there's doorbells, there's cameras, there's people all around. Like, a lot of times the person likes to be home because they don't trust us. And I'm like, guys, why don't you trust me? Like, I get it's sketchy to have people in your house, but I'm like, I don't think they realize that like the value of me having a job is much greater than me taking somebody's jewelry. So anyway, I've never even that thought has never crossed my mind. Sometimes I walk into a house and I'm like, oh, beautiful house, like I love it, looks good, but for the most part I'm just looking at like all the things that nobody pays attention to. Like, I'm looking at the radiator and I'm like, ooh, that's gonna have a lot of dust under it. Or like, that picture frame is pretty deep, so I gotta make sure I dust that picture frame really good. You know, like, I just got a different set of eyes on when I'm cleaning. I was at this house yesterday for the first time, right? Massive house. I looked it up on Zillow. It only said it was 1.2 million on Zillow, which I feel like for the area I live in is not much. Like, if you have $1 million in New Jersey, congrats, you're like not rich, you know? Like, you can send your kids to school and you can have a house, but like $1 million is not rich to me. I don't know. Wealth is weird to me, but this house, she's renovating it, right? The owner's renovating it. She's had it for years, raised 4 kids. They're all adults, and now she's renovating it. But it was picture perfect. Like, I clean nice houses, they're big houses. There's a few that are like really beautiful, but this one was just like on another level. It had an elevator, it had 3 floors, right? So you walk in and you're on like the main floor, and then you go into the basement. There is the most beautiful wine cellar I have ever seen in my entire life. It was gorgeous. And it wasn't just like one of those wine cellars that's like a glass box that has the heat, the humidity, and the temperature stuff, right? It was like, sorry, I cracked my knuckles in the mic. Maybe some of you like that. But it was in the basement, and it had like stone walls. It was kind of like a narrow room. Like, every room in this house is like curated perfectly. So the decorations, everything was dark and cozy. It felt like you were in some other country, like legit in Italy or whatever. And then you kind of like walked through that space, which almost felt like a Disney ride. It felt like, you know, people say, wow, this transported me to another place. But I mean, I was standing in front of that door, transfixed, and like some other cleaner walked past me and they just laughed at me because I was literally like transfixed by this little wine cellar, because it was just like it transported me to another place instantly. I was like, man, I gotta go to Italy or wherever this is looking like. And so it's like this narrow thing that you can walk down. We didn't have to clean it, so I really had no business being in there. But um then you like walk to the end, then there's another glass door, right? So then it becomes that like glass case that I think is just probably like the best wine technology at this point. So you kind of got to do it that way. But it was so blended into the details of the room that like you didn't even notice. And then it was like the actual cellar behind that glass panel. Then you say that's right at the bottom of the stairs. So instead of walking straight and going to the wine cellar, you take a left. After that left, there's like another big wine cellar, which is, I mean, it was probably like a 10-foot deep, maybe it was like a 10 by 10 square. We'll say that, right? Square room, bottles on bottles on bottles. And I didn't really go in there because I don't even drink, so I'm not about that life, but it is beautiful. So that was one thing, right? And then like the basement has a basement. So you're in the basement and then you go down more stairs and there's like a half a level deeper. And there's like a bedroom and a kids play area. So there's like 3 levels that are main levels, and then like the top level has an extra level. So there's like a half, like a fourth level, and then the basement has an extra level. So it was like massive. And I looked it up on Zillow, right? It's built in 1940, right up against this river. It's gorgeous. And I could never live there because it's just like too much house for me. Especially as a cleaner, that's all I see is I just spent 2 hours cleaning this with 4 other people. How am I ever going to do this if I just own this house, you know? But it was like they had old picture frames with like the black and white photos, you know, like those big cameras that they're like poof when they take a photo. And I like the history buff in me. I used to love history before I went to college and went all like in on science. I was so into history and all this stuff. Like, I'm just thinking about and nerding out, right? This is gonna make me seem crazy, but everything in the world is like history, right? And especially the area we live in. New Jersey is like the heart of the Industrial Revolution and the Revolutionary War. So even like when people started first coming here, we're one of the first colonies. We're right on the border of um, the Atlantic Ocean. Like, we have ports that are hundreds of years old. Like, all of that's steeped so far into our history, and I feel like everything has a cool story if you're just willing to look hard enough. Even with people, everybody's got a cool story to tell if you're just curious about them. So I'm like, I asked to dust, right? Because if you want to see every nook and cranny of the house, you gotta dust. Vacuuming, you can't really pay too much attention to what's going on above the floor, but dusting, I'm like seeing every little painting. They've got oil paintings of their children. That was another thing. The artwork in this house was just it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I've not seen a lot of art in this style. It was acrylic, but it was super glossy and super colorful. And the rest of the house was very like subdued colors. Like, you didn't really notice a color scheme in a lot of the rooms. It was a lot of wood, a lot of furniture, a lot of end tables and lamps, gold, silver, crystal, a lot of metal and a lot of wood. And then you would kind of like step back, and I love art, so I'm trying to like take this all in, and I'll be like, man, the colors in this painting are just like so vivid, they're so saturated, and I just loved it. It was just like interesting to see kind of more modern art in a place like that. Not that it was modern art, they had like paintings of um a lot of like wine paintings. There's this painting of a girl on a beach with a kid, and it was just so beautiful. So one thing I always say to people is like, I want to be rich enough to buy art and real jewelry, or real jewelry and real art. And yeah, that to me is like, you can have an empty house, but if you got cool art, that just never gets old. You could just sit there for hours. So the artwork was amazing. Every little second of this house, like every glance that you took, it was just perfectly curated. And then you would go up the stairs, just be a whole nother level of like perfectly curated bedrooms. It looked like a magazine. It looked like a Benjamin Moore magazine. Um, and then the upstairs had like a little another attic room attached. That was another bedroom up there. And this house had servant stairs as well. Another house we do has servant stairs. Same kind of deal. That house has 3 levels. Um, but I feel like the other house, that house is older than 1940. So this one had servant stairs, which one thing about me as a house cleaner, I refuse to walk up the servant stairs. I just can't. It's like humiliating to me. I'm like, man, I'm not your servant, you know? I'm getting paid, but I'm not your servant, and I will not use your servant stairs. And servant stairs are annoying because they're more narrow. The tread is not as deep, which is like because your servants don't need the luxury of having like a nice staircase. But I'll usually go up the nice staircase, especially if I'm carrying stuff, because I don't want to freaking fall down the stairs. These people must have been rich back in the day, you know? And then they had like a whole she shed that they built, and a 3-car garage with a barn on top of it. That was a whole lodge situation up there. That was also gorgeous. Loved it. And yeah, I just could really envision myself living in this house. But not really, because it's just too much house. I just want to live in like a shipping container, or a yurt. But oh my gosh, it was just stunning. Everything about this house. I just was I had this moment as I was dusting a lamp, and cuz I always try to see like, where do people spend their money, right? Because there's this whole concept of stealth wealth, and that people who live in luxury are actually using very normal, very practical things. They're buying things at good prices, and they're accumulating their wealth and then saving it on better things, for better things. So I'm looking at these people like, what are you spending your money on? Do you have a $10,000 coffee table, or did you go to IKEA, right? So they have like Versace kitchen tile flooring, which I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently there's a Versace tile company. I don't know if that's associated with Versace, as in the clothing brand, but they had kitchen tiles that were Versace. And then I was just recognizing some decorations from other houses that I've cleaned, and I think there's like a mix of normal things, and definitely I would think antiquing, and like, if you want to call antiquing thrifting, they're definitely buying used old things to match the old style of the house, which I think is great. You got to mix it up to make it look the best it can. But I was dusting this lamp, and I was like, this lamp is like, I couldn't even buy this lamp, you know? I feel like I live in a decent level of luxury because I still get like my dad's money. I live at home, and I'm the youngest child, so I definitely am not like broke, you know? But I also make like $200 a week, so I'm broke. Because I was dusting this lamp, and I'm like, man, these people are on like another class level. Like, I'm an absolute nobody. I'm broke. I'm poor. This is like embarrassing that I'm cleaning somebody else's house. Like, I always have this internal struggle of just like, I'm working such a menial job, and I'm like literally in the face of the people that are like multimillionaires. And it's just such a juxtaposition that it took me a long time to kind of get over that, actually, which was interesting because I used to want a big house. I used to idolize all of that, and then after cleaning for like over a year, I'm just like, nope, nothing good comes from that. Like, I've seen mega mansions, right? Doctor marries like a lawyer or whatever, and they have this massive house and it has these two grandiose staircases that come down and like curve into the entryway, and then they have redwood flooring, but they have one kid and they have an only child who sits in her little tiny bedroom upstairs, like, and the house is empty. It looks untouched every single time we go in there. And I'm just like, what is all this house doing for you? Like, you get a good status symbol for it, right? Or, you have your work party there once a year and you can show off to everybody that you're rich, but for what? This poor kid is like all alone by herself all the time. And the house just is not worth it. So that kind of changed after I started cleaning. But where was I going with this? This stupid lamp that I was dusting. I was just thinking as I was dusting this one room, I was like, what could I buy in here? I was like, my budget, like, if I bought a lamp, I'm dusting this lamp. Like, if I bought a lamp, how much could I spend on a lamp? I'm like, I don't think I would spend like $30 on a lamp, you know? Like, I don't think I would do that. I think I'm like, the budget that I have for a lamp right now is called going into my basement, digging around until I find a used lamp from our house and taking it upstairs and just plugging it in, right? My budget for a lamp is zero. And I was like, I make $200 a week right now. So I'm pretty budget is tight right now. I could work more, but whatever. And I was like, I wouldn't be spending anything on a lamp. Like, my budget is just not buying things. And that was kind of interesting to me because those little things add up of like, yeah, maybe the room isn't super gaudy, but like, I couldn't buy a lamp. Like, I can't buy a lamp right now in my life. And I need a freaking lamp in my bedroom, bro. I have one light and it's not enough. So I was in my parents' basement. It's like my house. I don't know why I'm saying it like my parents' basement, but I'm down there looking for like old lamps because we're freaking like hoarders in our basement. And I found this lamp that we used to have in my bedroom, and it's a touch lamp. So you just gotta tap it to turn it on. That thing used to turn on by itself, which is mad sketchy. Very big ghost story vibes because I would be like laying in bed. It's pitch black, right? And I'm telling you, you have to tap this lamp. Like, you have to make contact for like a second, 2 seconds. It's not just like tip tap and it turns on. You gotta press this lamp. I'm laying in bed. It's pitch black, right? Boop. Light turns on. I sit up in bed in my bright room and I'm like, there is a ghost in here. There's literally a person, like a spirit. Something is in here and turned my lamp on. That thing does not turn on by itself, guys. There's no feasible way that thing would turn on by itself. And so I'm like, Mom! I start screaming for my mom and she can't hear me. So I just get up and I run. And I was like, there's for sure like some ghosty that's standing there in the dark, turns the light, disappears in the light. So I banished that lamp into the basement. And because of my desperation for a free lamp, I considered bringing that back upstairs into my room, and I didn't. I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. It just is so sketchy. And like, we had this little claw machine that you had to put coins in to make it go. You couldn't put a penny in it. You couldn't put a piece of paper. You couldn't do cardboard. We tried everything to use something else except these little plastic coins that came with this claw machine. And that thing is going off in the basement, middle of the night, in the basement. We hear. How? How in the world is that possible, guys? My house is haunted, okay? My house is literally haunted because there's nothing else except the coins that came with that little claw machine toy that will turn that music on. And then my dad went in my sister's room and was like, "You're trying to eat candy in the middle of the night. What are you doing?" And my sister's in bed, like, she's like, I'm not downstairs. That thing is on downstairs playing clown music by itself. She's like, I'm not eating candy. I didn't touch it. It's just going off. And everybody was like, what? So sketchy stuff is going on in my house, and I'm broke enough to not buy a lamp. And so I live in a little bit of a darkness in my bedroom because I don't want to buy a lamp. And yeah, so cleaning makes me feel broke, especially when I'm in millionaires' houses, but it also makes me not want that lifestyle because a lot of those people are just at work all day making their money. And then they come home and it's like, yeah, you got a nice house, but you can only be in one room at one time. You know, like, how much can you actually enjoy it? So, anyway, I don't really know what else. I feel like as I was dusting, like, I was listening to Theo Vaughn, and I had a moment as soon as I started cleaning, as I was choosing what I was going to listen to. I was like, should I play classical music? Like, should I enjoy this moment? Because it just felt like a colonial recreation home. Like, I've been to a lot of those historical villages, and there's a lot of places in New Jersey that are like that from the Revolution, or like they're these remade houses. And it just felt as curated and as perfect as that. So I was like, let me play classical music. And I put on Theo Vaughn, and I was, I was like, I'm not built for this life. I was like, is it disrespectful to play Theo Vaughn in this beautiful house? Like, should I be listening to something that's like more edifying than that? But no, I was listening to his inauguration podcast. It's so freaking funny. Um, but yeah, I just feel kind of out of place in those houses. But I would like a nice house at some point. But it's not really the end of the world if I don't have it, because I could also live in a tent and be pretty happy. So I think I'm just gonna read today. I'm trying to read a book a week, and I'm pretty on schedule. I'm a little bit behind, but I think I can do it. It's actually so easy if you do a mixture of audiobooks and real books. Um, so yeah, that's might be how I spend my day today. And I'm getting pretty chilly in this parking lot, so I'm gonna call it a day and also put new batteries in this mic. But thanks for joining me on another episode. I don't know what that train of thought was. I kind of just push record and start yapping and hope for the best. So anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.